right? I never understood why I'm not hurting anybody. Why is my drinking bothering you so much, right? Because I don't see emotional abuse as harm, and I don't see stealing somebody's peace of mind as theft. All I see is what can I get? How fast can I get it? How fast can I get it into me? And when can we get some more?
Warning. This episode contains a real conversation about addiction, drug use,
and suicide.
It may be triggering. Take care of yourself.
Listener discretion is advised.
This is the Sober Tapes. Raw stories of addiction, recovery, and the fight to live sober. Let's roll the tape. Tell me your name and give me your sobriety date if you feel comfortable doing that.
Bryan J., August 1st, 2004.
Where were you before sobriety?
I was living in a trailer. And I don't mean like a trailer like white trash in a trailer park. I mean like a tractor trailer. That's where I was staying. Because I'd burned down and broken every bridge and every home and every heart and everything. So I was pretty much done with, I wasn't done with everyone, but everyone was done with me. And I think I wound up in the hospital a couple times because apparently if you only open one of those doors, it's not enough airflow. When you have a little propane heater going, it's not enough airflow to get so the propane heater and the crack pipe burned up all the oxygen, and they found me passed out far more than once.
That's a good start.
And it's that was normal. That's not like that was Tuesday. You know what I mean? That was no big deal for me, waking up in a jail cell or waking up in a hospital bed. I actually got sober not because I was tired. Like I just got tired of waking up and going, okay, I understand why I'm in jail. Why am I in Vancouver? Like I don't know what happened.
That's a great way to start it. Let's back this up and talk about Bryan when he was young. Let's find out a little bit about your early life, your parents, your family life. What was your introduction to alcohol and drugs? And it's kind of lead us down that path.
Pretty boring, straightforward, Mr. Rogers neighborhood upbringing. 2 parents, 2 brothers, a dog, station wagon with MacTac, church picnics, family barbecues. I was a good kid until 18, and then all hell broke loose. But, mom was fantastic. Dad worked hard and showed us what he never told us what to do. He always showed us what to do by his actions. He told us what was expected of us and then lived it in front of us, which is a fabulous way to teach. Most men in my life still teach me that way today. But yeah, upbringing was fairly basic, normal, middle class.
So when were you introduced to drugs and alcohol? When did that come into your life?
So it wasn't high school. High school was pretty miserable for me. Like I was pretty much a loser, no friends, just, I don't want to say no friends, but the friends I had were very, very, very low on the social scale. And high school was just miserable for me, right? Didn't belong anywhere. I remember crying a lot, I was boxing back then and not much of a team player even today. No team sports, Bryan still doesn't play well with others most of the time. But yeah, high school was miserable. And then I think I got my high school diploma. I did a year of college, figured that wasn't for me, just another example of me making fabulous life decisions, right? And I got a job at the Ontario Food Terminal down the street here and found alcohol and drugs real quick and found a place like I belonged, right? Like I was a crazy guy who did coke all the time, right? And I mean, it's not a great gig, but when you've never belonged anywhere, it's not a bad gig, And progressed really fast. Went from coke to crack because I couldn't get any more cocaine up my nose. So I went to crack cocaine because, it was a health choice, really, I think. We've talked about the hole in the nose, I got that. And, from there I went to heroin and pills and, whatever. I think there's two types of addicts, right? There's guys that like to go up, right? Which is like speed and cocaine. And, the guys that like to go down, alcohol, weed, morphine, guys that like to go down. And there's guys like me who just don't give a fuck. Just whatever I can get to not make me feel like this.
I think the term is garbage head.
Yeah, okay.
They turn that.
Yeah, okay. Is that what it's called?
It's been quite.
All right, well, I'm the king, baby, because I don't give a shit. Just give me handfuls of whatever you got.
So when was that tipping point for you of when it was partying and fun when you were in high school, and when did that tipping point, kind of happen in your life turn when it wasn't fun and it was just how Bryan lives?
I think like everything, with me, there's no tipping point. I jump head first over the cliff with everything, right? So it was like, I found it, I belong, let's do this as hard as I can, as fast as I can, as much as I can. And I went from a typical middle class kid to, living on the street within 2 years.
So that leads me to another, how did your addiction kind of change your life, like your family life, your work life, your relationships, even like your self-respect?
Well, my dad missed the self-esteem movement by about 5 years, right? He didn't read any of those books. He didn't see any of the Dr. Phil episodes. He missed that shit completely, right? And he just kidnapped my mom and moved to Peterborough. And I don't care what anyone says, that's what it's called. It's kidnapping. When you take a woman away from her family against her will, it's called kidnapping. He just dragged her away and didn't give me a phone number, didn't give me an address. And last words he said to me were, "Now your mother can sleep. Don't fucking call here."
How'd that make you feel?
There was no feelings at the time, right? Everyone was just in my way, right? I never understood why I'm not hurting anybody. Why is my drinking bothering you so much, right? Because I don't see emotional abuse as harm, and I don't see stealing somebody's peace of mind as theft. All I see is, what can I get? How fast can I get it? How fast can I get into me? And when can we get some more?
Did anyone call you out?
All the time. All the time. Constantly. Bunch of haters.
And how come at that point it didn't stop you from doing your thing?
I think with most of us stopping was like the problem isn't the drugs and the alcohol, right? Like it never was for me, right? The problem was that cops shouldn't have been there, or my dad's a hard ass. I actually went vegetarian. Like I was married through all of this, right? And she ended up leaving me. She made good decisions. Shocker, I know. Spoiler alert, she left. But like I remember going vegetarian for like a year and a half, and she ate everything that I made, like horrible eggplant lasagna, like just awful stuff, right? Because I wasn't feeling well, right? It had to be my diet. It couldn't be the $1,000 of narcotics that I'm ingesting in a day, right? It's got to be it's always something else, right? And, you'd go to the doctors and they try and, take me off drugs that I like for drugs that I don't. Don't fucking do that to me, right? I've figured out the solution, right? Alcohol and drugs fixed everything for me immediately. Immediately. The solution for me, as soon as I found it, was always 3 shots of rye and a line of Coke. Fixes everything immediately.
So
right up until it doesn't.
Yeah, I was going to say, what lie did you have to tell yourself in order to keep going and stay using? Like, what lies were you consistently telling yourself in order to keep living the way you were living?
It's I mean, I think it's the same with all of us, right? I'm not hurting anybody, I'm not I was totally stealing and robbing my employer at the time blind and just doing all kinds of horrible stuff. But, I like to say I never ever crossed the line in active addiction. I just kicked it forward, right? I'll do whiskey and weed, but you know what? I'll never do coke. Okay, I'll do cocaine, but I'll never smoke crack. Okay, you know what? I'll do Cocoa Puffs, right? But okay, you know what? I'll do crack, but I'll never do heroin. Okay, you know what? I'll smoke heroin, but I'll never put it in my arm. And I just kept kicking the line forward, right? And eventually there's no line anymore. You're just doing everything.
So was it like a big crash, or was it like a slow bleed that got there? Like that progression, like did that happen over like a week, a weekend, or like a month or a year? Like from the first time you smoked weed and did like a couple drinks to when you were shooting heroin, what kind of time frame was that?
Probably 1.5 to 2 years. Like I jumped headfirst into everything, right? So it didn't take long, right? Because I'm of the opinion, of a little bit is good, a lot is going to be better.
So was there like a moment in any of all of this where you're like, I can't do this anymore? Did you have any of those moments?
Oh, every day. Every morning, I am not doing this shit anymore. That we're done. We can't do this shit anymore. I was raised properly. you know, and then that mindset hits, right? So we got to get something. We can't feel like this, right? And you know, and then we talk about selfishness in the program all the time, and it's not the Western Donald Trump, I want more than everybody selfishness that I deal with, right? That's not what it is, right? Because most alcoholics and addicts that I know are really loving, caring, giving people. Like they'll give you anything you know, that they'll do anything for you. They're just not that kind of selfishness. The selfishness that I deal with is, you know, mom, kids, dad, boss, wife. I understand that when I do this stuff and when I act like this, that it absolutely destroys you. I get that. But can't you see that I feel like this? And I will do fucking anything not to feel. Why can't you see that I can't feel like this? And I'll do anything not to feel like this. That's the selfishness that I deal with on a daily basis. Still today, I can feel like that when I'm disconnected from God. And that usually means I'm disconnected from you guys.
So what are some of the things that you did that would epitomize some of that selfishness during some of your active addiction and alcoholism?
Oh, you want the stories? There's a few. My buddy Deshaun likes some of these stories. So, you know, I carried this one woman, little old lady's groceries home for one day to my house. You know, nothing I'm proud of. It's not, you know, I'm not glorifying anything, guys. It's just I was really sick at the time. I'm really hungry. It's something that I did, right? And, you know, I would do stuff like that. I would rob my boss blind. You know, I used to have one light bulb that I would take from room to room just because I'm not spending money on fucking light bulbs, right? That's money I need for, you know, drugs and booze, you know. Nobody would even come over. It's like, I'm not wiping my ass with Taco Bell napkins, Brian. Buy some toilet paper. I'm just not doing that, right? Like it got really, really savage.
Was there any time that this was directed like to the people closest to you?
Well, the only one who stuck around was my younger brother, and today he's still my best friend, or I might cry talking about him because he's the greatest guy who ever lived. Love, you know, I tell my wife today, I'm like, the only one I will ever cancel plans for is my younger brother. Like, I do not say no to him for any reason whatsoever. But I was staying in his basement because he had just, you know, my mom had begged him to figure something out. So he just pulled me off the street and threw me in the basement. And he came down one day and he found my stash of booze, right? So, you know, typical alcoholic fashion, right? I grabbed it and I don't break eye contact, right? I looked at him the whole time and dumped it in the toilet, right? Dumped it right in the toilet, right? See? You know, fuck you, right? And dumped it right in the toilet. And then, you know, and I didn't flush it. That's important. And then he goes upstairs and an hour later, like I'm making cocktails in the toilet bowl because I feel like this. And I will do anything not to feel like this. You know, I put ice in it, guys. Don't worry about it. I'm not a barbarian or anything.
So you're in a pretty bad spot. You're in your brother's basement. You know, you've obviously come to a point in your addiction and alcoholism that, you know, you've recognized that there's a problem. Was there anything that you did at that time before you got sober to like try sobriety? Like, was there anything that like, you know, I'm only going to do this or I'm going to stop doing this? Like, were there
all the time
efforts made?
all the time, every morning, right? And then, you know, one day I went a whole day and I could count on one hand, like the last 10 years of my drinking and using that I can count on one hand and give you like 3 fingers change the number of days I went with nothing. I remember going with nothing, not a drink, not you know, no Coke, no, not even weed, nothing, just cigarettes and coffee. And the next day I woke up like, I got this beat. Like, if I can go a day, I can go a year, right? You know, jump head over, right? Head first over a cliff. And I'm like, I got this beat. So, you know, I go the rest of the next day and, you know, somebody says, you want a line, Brian? And I'm like, 2 words that most commonly lead to relapse. Fuck it. Fuck it. Give me one. And the next day I'm 3 8-balls before 9 a.m.
Did you tell anyone, like friends or family or people closest to you, that you're going to try to get sober? Like, did you have any promises made to these people when you were, you know, going a couple days? Or?
I'm lying through my teeth to everybody. And the guys I hung out with didn't, you know, the last thing they wanted was anyone to get well around them, right? That's the last thing I want is anyone getting well around me and telling me about it, right? He's not in our group anymore. Fuck that guy. Sicko.
So I guess my overarching
It's the Drew Carey syndrome, right? You try and hang out with guys whose life is worse than yours so you don't feel so bad about your life.
So did you subscribe to that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It got to the point where nobody was worse than me.
And how is that going for you?
It wasn't going great. It wasn't going great. No. You want to get to the point where I was done?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
There's a version of a rock bottom, I guess, for everybody.
yeah.
Most people.
Yeah.
So.
And you know, sometimes it's physical. Most of the time it's spiritual and emotional, right? But I just had my ear bitten off by a Guatemalan crack dealer, you know, for a financial debate we were having. And you know, I had seen him on the street 2 days before, and I fucking dummied him from just bad decisions, right? Just took his stuff and left, and you know, did everything and been through everything and sold everything. And 2 days later, I'm in the same spot looking for stuff, and of course he finds me and you know has a financial conversation, and get out of the hospital, right? And I go to pick up, and this is the insanity. Like, I didn't even go to a different guy. I went to the same guy, right? And he's, you know, typical question, where we come from, right? You got money? I'm like, yeah, I just robbed the hospital. Of course I got money. And, you know, after that, you know, I went probably 3 or 4 more days after that. And I'm on the floor of my brother's basement because, you know, I don't feel good enough for the bed. Ears just been sewn back onto my head. Fingers are burnt, nose is bleeding, hair's mad to my head. Haven't eaten or showered in weeks. You know, they say on YouTube you can only go 7 days without food. That's a fucking lie.
I guess when you're powered by
It is when you're powered by crack. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm done, right? And I'm out of ideas. And that's where you got to get to. Right? If I still have this, I got this, I'm never gonna get better. Right? I got to be aware that life lived under Bryan's fucking ideas and Bryan's will is never going to amount to shit. It's just going to be the same shit over and over and over again. Right? So, and I was done. I was done. Right? I was absolutely out of ideas, and I prayed honestly and sincerely for the first time in my entire life. Right? And I've grown up Roman Catholic. I've had knowledge of God and belief in God my entire life. Didn't fucking do me any good. Right? My mom gave us our message my entire life. Right? That God loves you, baby. Yeah, Mom. Probably loves you. You're making lemon squares right now for the church, aren't you, bitch? Like, I know what you're doing. Right? Like, it's like, is not the first time I ever heard you drink too much. It's not the first time I heard you need to be more responsible and look after your kids. It's not the first time I heard you're fucking up. I heard that shit my whole life, right? It's I got to hear it from me, right? And I'm on the ground and I'm done, and I pray all sincerely, and God, I'm done. Like, fuck it. I can't live another minute like this. I just want to come home, right? Like, I'm done, right? And God said, enough, like, enough. I got other work for you to do, Bryan. Enough of this nonsense, right? I got up a free man. I got up off that floor a free man. I never touched another drug from that day to this. That's been over 21 years.
All right. Well, let's end that there. And let's get to the B side of the tape. What was day one like?
Oh, shit. There's a few still around who could tell you. Yeah, day one was not pretty. I was, you know, I didn't do rehab. I didn't do detox. They wouldn't take me because they have some silly rule. You got to be like sober for a couple days to get in there. And that was fucking impossible for me. So I was locked in my brother's basement, and only the dog would come down to see me. And even he was a little iffy about it at times. He would scratch at the door to get out. And then my brother, like, God bless my brother, he would take me to meetings. And he, swear to God, he would stand at the front door with his arms crossed, and he would have his buddy go around back because he knows I would sneak out the back, right? And, you know, I would go sneak out the back, and he'd be there, go, turn around. And, you know, he just made me go to meetings, and, you know, people say they can't force you to do this shit. Well, you've never met my brother. Apparently you can. And, but I was done. I was out of ideas, you know, and there was a couple of guys who would come up to me, and I just fucking couldn't stand these guys. Couldn't stand them. And they were like happy and making jokes and well dressed and had all their teeth and their hair was combed, and they, you know, they were busy, like they had stuff to do, right? I had nothing, right? I didn't know. The only thing I knew was to get in the car and him take me home. Like I had nothing going on. And these guys would always come up to me and they would give me phone numbers and they'd buy me books and they'd ask my brother if they could take me out and, bring me home after. And I used to tell them, like, I don't fucking like you guys. And they were, we don't like you either, Bryan. Get in the car. Like, there's nothing to like about you. And they were absolutely right, But the biggest advice I can give for anybody getting sober is find those two guys. They're out there. Find that guy, find that girl, the one who cares about you, and they're going to really upset you, right? Because my first sponsor, Brent, really, really upset me because he cared. He cared about you and he cared about me, and this fucking mattered to him. And nothing had mattered to me in so long. I couldn't even count how long. Like nothing mattered. I had lost everything, right? And he cared about me, and it was just a fucking weird feeling. And they would take me to meetings, right? And it turns out that at a meeting, there was only 5 seconds, but there was 5 seconds where there was a small possibility that maybe I'm not hopeless and maybe I'm not worthless and maybe my situation's not hopeless, right? And it was only 5 seconds, right? But that was enough to get me back to another meeting. The rest of the time was like psych wards and probation and, just court and just all kinds of horrible stuff that we go through, right? But that was enough to get me back to another meeting, right? And meetings are weird. We talk weird. We say stupid shit. Keep coming back. I'm fucking legally required to be here, so I'll see you tomorrow. That remember when we have stupid slogans. Remember when? I'm like, you know what a blackout is, you stupid son of, like, it doesn't make any sense. None of that shit made sense to me. But like it didn't have to, right? Like it doesn't, we have this big spiritual concept of surrender that I don't fucking understand. But my first sponsor said, Bryan, watch those war movies. Watch MASH, right? Watch a guy surrender. He puts his gun in the ground. He puts his hands above his head. He sits at the side of the road and he waits for someone to tell him what to do. Doesn't put the fucking gun down with an attitude. Right? He doesn't tell the bad guy how many meetings he's going to go to because someone's going to shoot you. Right? And drugs and alcohol are going to shoot me. Right? So I put the weapons of war down. And I just did what I was told. That's all surrender is. Just do what you're told. Even if that guy who's telling you what to do is a complete moron, he's going to do a better job than I've been doing. Right? And, I just did what I was told. Not gratefully, not willingly, not happily, but I just did what I was told, And, yeah, those are some great guys, man. Those are some great guys.
So what were some parts about early sobriety that were harder than you expected?
All of it. Like here's what people don't understand, right? And I wish, like, we don't tell people this anymore, and I wish we would, right? Early sobriety, not supposed to be a good time, right? Have you ever met us? Like, you got this guy coming in with a broken leg and crutches, and he's on, the cops are waiting for him. He's on probation. He's got warrants for his arrest. He hasn't seen his kids in years. He's like, what are you up to, dog? Well, I'm just trying to start my business. Like, our priorities are right out of whack. Everything, like, that's what I remember about active addiction, right? Like today, I don't know what's going to happen, right? But back then, I knew that, like, everything was different. Everything was so difficult. Didn't matter what it was. Finding my shoes, going to work, getting a bowl of cereal, getting married, getting divorced. It didn't matter. Everything was just so fucking difficult. Today, nothing's difficult.
So what are some of the easy parts of sobriety at the beginning that surprised you?
Getting accepted, which is a big deal for me. That's why I started doing drugs and alcohol to begin with, right? Because, like, again, I was a loser in high school. I fucking hated high school with a passion, My mom, God bless her, she passed away May 17th. And again, I might cry, guys. But she used to always say, have you talked to the kids about drugs? Talk to the kids about drugs. Like, what do you want me to say to them, Mom? Like, all that shit you're feeling right now and all the body issues and all the self-esteem issues? This will fix all of that. Like, immediately. Like, drugs are so good, they'll ruin your life. That's how good they are. Like, what am I supposed to tell this kid about that? It's going to fix all of it, right? And the horrible part about alcohol, alcoholism and drug addiction is you don't know if you're one until you do it. You got to do it. Let's see,
So I guess to talk about your life today a little bit and what kind of sobriety looks like to Bryan today, what kind of like routines or habits or rituals, things that you do on a daily basis that help keep you grounded?
Well, recovery is not something that I do today anymore. It's just me. It's just, I've been doing it for 21 years. It's just what I do, right? Like before my feet hit the floor, I'm doing my third step prayer. I get up, I talk to God, so I'm praying most of the day, right? I'm talking to God all day long. I call my sponsor, I call my boys, I call you sometimes when you're not too busy to talk to me, you know. And that's another thing. Like I remember meeting my first sponsor, Brent, and I remember going, holy shit, I can't wait to be as busy as my sponsor. Like I'm so bored and lonely. Like I can't wait, right? I would pay good money to be bored and lonely today. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, it's ridiculous. Careful what you pray for. Don't swing that spiritual lightsaber around. You're gonna hit some shit. Careful what you pray for, But you know, like what sobriety is, like it depends who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to somebody new, then sobriety is complete and utter abstinence from all mind and mood altering chemicals, including weed and mushrooms and microdosing, whatever the fuck that is, right? Like all this shit, this California sober and crap that we put up with, it's all garbage, right? It's anything I'm doing or putting in my body to change the way that I feel, right? And any substance or behavior that I use is gonna screw up my life. Be it gambling, be it women, be it food, it's gonna cause me a problem, and I know this. Right? So I got to do the things I was taught, right? And the beautiful thing is that the shit that worked for me at 20 days still works for me at 21 years. It still works, right? I still remember my sponsor saying, Bryan, get up, pray, right? Get a coffee, go to work. For the love of God, don't make eye contact with anybody. Come home, call me, go to a meeting, try and help somebody, don't hurt anybody, right? That's still a great recipe for me today, right? That will still end my day with zero wreckage. Zero wreckage. And zero wreckage is a pretty good day for Bryan. It's a pretty good day, What does sobriety look like? I mean, besides that definition, right? There's two things. I got to be absent from all mind and mood altering chemicals, right? And behaviors. And I've got to live in such a way that if somebody observed me and you said that guy was in a spiritual program, they wouldn't be shocked. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell all the young guys at work, guys, just live a life where you can leave your phone on the kitchen table with no code on it for 20 minutes without having a panic attack. Like live that life. It's a great life. It's so much easier, right? Than the lying and the cheating and the manipulating and the conning and all that crap, right? Like it's very simple today. And if I was to tell you what sobriety looks like, it looks like 8 hours of uninterrupted guilt-free sleep. It looks like a text message from my daughter that says, Dad, I need you. It looks like me asking you for help and you're not asking any questions. All you say is, whose car are we taking? Right? That's what sobriety looks like for you today. It looks like me being there when my mother dies, right? And me calling my dad every single night to make sure he's okay, and doing what is spoiling the shit out of my daughters because I haven't been a full-time parent in like 12 years. And now I've been a full-time parent for like a month and a half now because I just moved back in with them because they needed some help. So I came in to straighten them out. And I've been a full-time parent for a month and a half now. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart, man. These motherfuckers are getting on my goddamn nerves. You got to pray for me. Like I need help. But, Dad, I need you. That's recovery.
Yeah.
That's recovery if you ask me, guys. Right there.
21 years is a long time, man. You got some serious sobriety under your belt.
It's a long time between shots. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
And some days, you know what? I'm driving home and I'm like, I'm 21 years fucking sober. And some days, man, it's right in front of me. It's like, holy shit, I did that. Now I acted like that. I hurt that person. Like some days it's right there, man.
Have you lost anyone along the way in sobriety? Like physically or like, you lost friends or family or
fuck. My first sponsor told me to buy a black suit when I got here. And I said, why? Like, first of all, I don't have any fucking money. So why am I spending money? I have one light bulb. And you want me to buy a suit over here? And he's like, because you're going to go to a lot of funerals, Bryan. Because what happens is I get disturbed, right? Bottom core of my spirit. My brain doesn't like being disturbed, right? It doesn't do it well, and I never do it alone. You're all coming with me. I'm taking hostages, right? And my brain doesn't give a shit if it solves a problem with three. I know you've heard this before, Drew, but my brain doesn't give a shit if it solves a problem with 3 more problems. It just wants to not be disturbed right now. That's all it wants, right? It just wants to not be disturbed. So it comes up with solutions to quell the disturbance, And again, 20 years ago, it was, 3 shots of Ryan, a line of Coke. Works every fucking time, right? I'm up until it doesn't. And today, like, I'm a long way away from that, but my brain will go, you know what? Throw a wrench at that guy, Bryan. I'll fucking fix it. You know what? Pack your bags and leave her. She's not treating us right. We don't need this shit. Just pack your bags and let's get it. Don't even tell her. Let's just go. Quit your, my personal favorite, quit your job, Bryan. Fuck, these guys are not treating us properly. Nobody respects us. Quit your job. Let's get out of here, right? Now I'm in my new car that I just bought, and I've just quit my job, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to pay for it, and I'm disturbed again. My brain's going to come up with solutions to quell that. If I don't figure out how to quell that disturbance spiritually the way I've been taught, right, I'm going to get back to 3 shots of Ryan, a line of Coke. And when that doesn't work anymore, because it's not, I know it's not going to work. When that doesn't work anymore, I'm going to get to what's the point? Why am I still here, man? Why are we doing this, right? And it's sad, and it's tragic, and I see it all the time. And people that I truly, truly love and care about keep fucking dying on me. And it happens all the time. And people go, I can't believe he did that. Really? Because I can. I know exactly the thought process that brings you there, right? I get it. So I've got to figure out how to quell that disturbance. Because again, my brain doesn't care if it solves a problem with 3 more problems. Right. So yeah, I've lost a lot of guys.
Have you gained anybody?
Oh, you're sitting right in front of me, brother. Yeah, you know what? I during COVID, there were no meetings, right? There were just no. We just stopped. Like the government almost killed us, right? Touchy subject, I know. Let's not get into it, but yeah, and we lost a lot of people during COVID, but there was this group of guys, and they were all COVID babies, and they got 3 or 4 years now, most of them, that stuck around. And I just kind of fell in with them. They're like, hey, we got this meeting, and we need some help. I'm like, yeah, you fucking do. Jesus Christ. And I got in with these guys. There's about 8 or 10 of us, and they are the greatest group of guys. And it fluctuates a little bit, but the core 7, 8 of us are always around, and we do boys' weekends and stuff, and we do a meeting at my place, every Tuesday. And yeah, have I gained anybody? I'm living with my kids again,
It's a gift.
Yeah, dude, you know what? And at 10 o'clock at night, man, it's a gift. At 5 o'clock in the morning, it's a struggle, And that's, that's when, like, step 12 is practice these principles in all our affairs. I'm great at meetings. I'm great with you guys. Right now, I am the most spiritual motherfucker you've ever seen in your life. All right? I'm walking right beside Buddha and Gandhi. I'm there, right? But that's not when I have to practice this stuff. There's 23 more hours in the day. I'm great with you guys. Get me at 5 o'clock in the morning when I can't find my keys, I stub my toe, there's no cream for my fucking coffee, and the kids forgot to do the dishes. Then ask me to practice patience and tolerance and unconditional love, right? Because that's when I need to do it. If you want to judge my recovery, don't get me here. Open the door to my house and see how I treat the people inside. That's how you judge my recovery. That's 23. My first sponsor used to say, Bryan, it's not what happens between the Serenity Prayer and the Lord's Prayer. It's what happens between the Lord's Prayer and the next Serenity Prayer. It's those other 23 hours of the day. What am I like then? That's what we're all about around here.
What's one truth that sobriety's taught you?
One thing that I wish my kids would know, and that new people would know, and that I figured a lot earlier, is that people who have stuff work really, really hard for it. Like, I was resentful against my elder brother. I can still be resentful against my elder brother, but he's been working on his career since he was 15 years old. He got good grades in high school, and he went to college, he went to university, and he's got more degrees in the thermometer, and he's got a great career, and he's a VP, and he's doing amazing. And you know what? I stopped smoking crack at 32. Like, where's my vice president job? Right? People who have a lot tend to work really, really hard for it. Nothing's given to anybody, And I wish I knew that earlier.
So what would you tell, if you could tell, your younger self or your past person one thing, what would that be?
There's a few things, right? Like, stop trying to make everybody happy. Most people aren't worth it. Stop looking for God. He's not lost. Stop trying so hard. Nobody cares.
I do.
There's a lot of things, right? Like, stop trying to make everybody happy. Most people are, that's how you pick a friend, right? A friend is if you tell them good news, they're happy for you. You tell them bad news and they're sad for you. They don't try and one up you, or, I don't have a whole lot. The longer I've been around here, the smaller my circle gets. And that's not just because of how okay, it's kind of because of how I am, but it's not solely because of how I am. It's just because being a friend is hard. Being good is hard, man. Like, if this recovery thing was easy, we'd have to hold meetings in football fucking stadiums, right? But it's not. And we hold them in church basements. And sometimes there's 6 of us, right? Because it's not easy. It's not easy. The path of people who believe in God is really fucking wide. The path of people who act like they believe in God, there's not very many people on it, And I am my actions. People perceive me by how I act. And I got to keep that in mind, And consequences have actions. If I'm acting like I get really skeptical of anybody who tells me they're a good guy. I'm a good guy. Are you? Really? I can believe that, but what do we mean by believe? Is it like, is it what I say? Like, I believe, or is it, it's not even what I think. It's what I act out. And if I'm acting out like a douchebag, then chances are I'm a douchebag, right? So I never tell anyone I'm a good guy, right? I know my experience tells me what I am and what I'm capable of, right? I've done some really terrible, horrible things with some really good and sweet people. I know full well what I'm capable of, right? But my belief in God, my actions, I develop a moral code and a code of ethics that allows me to act in such a way that approximates something that's good. But if I ever tell you I'm a good guy, run the other way, man. That's a bad sign.
So would you tell people you're a good guy now?
No,
Why is that?
no. Because I know what I'm capable of. My experience tells me that I'm not.
So what would you have to do to become a good person?
Well, see, that's the thing, is I don't believe that people are essentially good, and I don't believe people are essentially bad. I'm not a Marxist or a Hobbesian. I don't believe, we're somewhere in the middle, and it's my actions, right?
So you're good or bad based on your current actions?
Absolutely.
So what do your current actions look like today?
That's a great question. That might have been the whitest thing I ever said. That's a great question. That was awful. Can we delete that? That was terrible. I should have finger pointed when I did that. That was horrible. My prayer in the morning after I have a few set prayers that I do, and my prayer in the morning is always, God, show me what to do, show me where to look, show me who to help, right? And I try and live that throughout the day, right? Look where I'm supposed to, do what I'm supposed to, and help who I'm supposed to. And, I say this to you guys all the time, but the antidote for the misery of life, because say what you want, man. I mean, the Buddhists say that life is pain, and I don't think they're far off. Like, horrible shit happens in life. Just watch CNN for 10 minutes, right? There's no ozone, and there's child trafficking, and there's drugs, and this and that, and murder and rape, and it can be pretty horrible. So what do I have to justify the misery, right? What do I have that's going to make it worth it, right? And for me, it's always been responsibility. I never feel bad looking after my kids. I never feel bad when I'm sponsoring a guy, right? I wish you guys could see me when that phone rings, before God shows up. I wish you could see me, because the phone rings and the number comes up and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, you whining fucking maggots. Do I got to do this after work now? Jesus Christ, can I have one day where somebody doesn't need me? And then I press talk and God shows up and it's a whole different ballgame. And as soon as I'm done, I feel so good. And like, I got to call my mom and this kid, you know, like it's a whole different thing. It's always been responsibility for me. That's what I've learned around here.
Is sobriety worth it?
Oh, fuck. Don't do it. And you tell me. Yeah. I mean, 100%. So it's, you know, I'm not one of those idiots to say I have more fun now in recovery than I ever did in active addiction, because that stay away from that guy. That guy's a moron. You know, he's misquoting the book. That's not what the book says. The book says I wouldn't trade my best day, my worst day sober for my best day drinking. That's what the book says. I think it's in more about alcoholism, but you know, I'm not that guy who says I had more fun in sobriety than active addiction. I remember hookers and heroin and hotel rooms. Like, it was some good times before I went all bad, you know. But I wake up every day with a purpose. Like, I know what I'm supposed to do. I know who I'm supposed to help. I know who I'm supposed to make dinner. I know where you know. One of the best feelings is waking up where you lie down. Like, that is such a great feeling. It's so good.
The simple things.
Yeah. Like, just waking up where you lie. Like, the guys, I mean, you know, you can edit this out, I hope, but I wake up in the middle of the night crying sometimes just because I'm in clean sheets, right? The kids are safe and there's no one knocking on the door with a gun and a Rottweiler. Like this, you know, it's still new for me, you know? So yeah, it's worth it. 100%.
If sobriety was a soundtrack, what song would be on it?
Oh, shit. If sobriety was a soundtrack, probably I Can't Get No Satisfaction by Otis Redding.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, it's a great song too, guys.
That's a good answer. That's it. Let's wrap it up.
All right, baby.
Thanks for the first episode.
Thanks for being here, man.
Appreciate
Love you,
man.
brother.
Love you too, man. Well, that's another story on the Sober Tapes. See, these aren't just interviews. They're reminders that recovery is possible, even when you're in the darkest of places. So until next time, let's keep the tape rolling, keep moving forward.